I don't hate him. And by the way, he shouldn't be, whatever I think of him, he shouldn't be in solitary confinement. I hear he's in very bad conditions, and that's not right.
Breaking right now. Nigel Farage has backed Tommy Robinson publicly for the first time while in Washington, D.C. for the CPAC conference. So is this potentially a seminal moment in terms of the shifting Overton window when it comes to Britain's most famous and most mistreated political prisoner? And things have just got worse, by the way, behind bars for Tommy Robinson at HMP Woodhill. It has just been revealed that his friend Katie Hopkins has now had her visit with Tommy cancelled by the prison. Tommy's team say she was the only person booked in that day, so it seems like Tommy will have another day wasted by the prison governorship and will have to remain in his cell. They want to break him, but they will fail because Tommy has the support of the free world behind him, and they know it. So we know the background here. Nigel Farage been under serious pressure to speak up against the ill and inhumane, and I believe completely illegal treatment of Tommy Robinson behind bars. Obviously, Elon Musk very quickly withdrew his support for Nigel Farage as Reform UK leader because he wouldn't come on board. So it was perhaps inevitable that he would be asked about the Tommy situation at CPAC. He knew that he was going to have to change his position, and this is what happened when he came face-to-face with Tommy's own outlet, Urban Scoop.
Mr. Farage, I'm from the UK. Hello, I have a question for you. Rupert Lowe says you don't have to hate Tommy Robinson because he's exposing a lot of grooming gangs. So what is your point on that? Because you question sometimes his criminal record on TV.
Well, he's got a very long criminal record. I don't hate him. And by the way, he shouldn't be, whatever I think of him, he shouldn't be in solitary confinement. I hear he's in very bad conditions, and that's not right.
Yeah, he is allowed to see his ex-wife and
yeah, that's not right.
Thank you.
So, it's a start. It's something, isn't it? I know there'll be supporters of Tommy Robinson who don't think that is enough, but remember, that is a serious change in tone from even just a few weeks ago. A lot of that has been forced by people like the former Reform UK deputy Ben Habib, now chairman of the Great British PAC, who had this to say to Rebel News.
He's an absolutely awful man. Lord Hermer should be sacked. Lord Hermer decided, he's a political appointment by the Labour Party, the Attorney General, and he decided that it was a matter of national public interest that Tommy Robinson's case should be taken from being a civil case to a criminal case. Yeah. Now, at no level, in my view, is it of a national public interest. And that was the bar he had to get over to convince himself that this had to go now criminal. Yeah. So it was an appointed politician of the worst sort, a terrorist sympathizer, sue me if you want to, Lord Hermer, a terrorist sympathizer who decided to convert Tommy Robinson's case from one of civil action to criminal action. And then the court threw the book at Tommy Robinson. Yeah. So anyone who can't grasp those facts, can't see the cause and effect of the political interference in Tommy Robinson's case, is in denial.
Yeah, I agree.
And it doesn't matter what you think of Tommy Robinson. I make no apology for Tommy Robinson. I'm not here saying Tommy Robinson is a great guy or a bad guy. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
He is a political prisoner. And certain members of certain leaders of certain parties should have the courage to say it.
Yeah.
Fascinating insight there with the great Sammy Woodhouse. This is the latest update, by the way, new from Tommy's team, who say Tommy's legal team is still working in the background. We cannot and will not go public on legal strategy or arguments for obvious reasons at this moment in time. Just be assured things are moving along as they should be. Tommy has asked people not to protest outside the prison. Doing so at this moment in time could well end up being counterproductive, and we do not want to compromise the legal arguments challenging his current treatment by HMP Woodhill. Despite everyone's frustrations, the real battle is in the courts, so please respect Tommy's wishes. If or when things change situationally, we will update you further. I want to bring in Henry Bolton now. He is the former leader of the UKIP party. And Henry, you obviously have your own interesting history with Tommy Robinson, because Tommy has been in and out of UKIP for a number of years, and it did cause a huge split within the party. But where do you stand in terms of the treatment of Tommy Robinson behind bars? But first, attention all the proud, the bold, and the beautifully bald. It's time to elevate your grooming game with the Manscaped Dome Shaver Plus. Designed for precision, comfort, and a flawless finish, this shaver is the ultimate tool for keeping your dome as smooth as your pickup lines. Whether you're maintaining a sleek style or embracing the shine with confidence, the Dome Shaver Plus has you covered. So head on over to manscaped.com, join the over 11 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped. I'm one of them. Use the code Outspoken. You'll get 20% off your entire order and free shipping anywhere in the world. The Dome Shaver Plus, though, let me tell you about it. It adapts to your head's contours for a smooth shave without the mess and hassle of traditional shaving. 4 stainless steel, skin-safe rotary blades reduce nicks and cuts to deliver a perfectly bald look without uneven hair patches. With Flex Adjust technology, every blade stays perfectly close to your scalp for a precise finish. The powerful 8,000 RPM motor delivers effortless shaving performances with less strokes and irritation. The long-lasting rechargeable battery has up to 60 minutes of runtime. When a charge is needed, you can save time with the 10-minute quick change option. Because the Dome Shaver Plus is waterproof, you can also enjoy wet or dry operation, and it's ergonomically designed to fit comfortably into your hand and effortlessly navigate every curve of your scalp. With a magnetic blade pad and hair chamber, cleanup is a breeze too, making sure your Dome Shaver Plus stays fresh and ready to deliver a smooth shave every time you need it. And by the way, if you've got a boyfriend or a husband or a son who likes the smooth bald look, this is the perfect guest for them. So go to manscaped.com, use the code Outspoken for free shipping and a whopping 20% discount on your entire order. Get the Dome Shaver Plus today and experience a shave that is as smooth as you deserve. But now, back to the show.
I think this is a broader conversation, and I don't think it necessarily needs to be personalized in terms of Tommy. I think Tommy is symbolic of the problem, which is an effort by politicians, by the government, by certain people in positions in the judiciary to actually close down free speech. I think they see, I'm no great fan of Tommy, a former police officer. Tommy has got a criminal record. That doesn't mean to say that people don't change or people don't regret what they've done. But I think Tommy has had and has expressed legitimate opinions, and as well as sometimes a little bit sort of beyond, sort of somewhat exaggerated. But nonetheless. Those are opinions, and I think it is fundamental in a democracy that people are allowed to express their opinions. We do have a problem in this country that a whole range of people on the left, on the right, in the centre don't want to listen. They don't want to listen to home truths. They don't want to listen to other opinions that question their own worldview, their own perception of things, or their own sort of tribal affiliations. And I think, that is a serious problem. Tommy is symbolic of that problem. And I think we should all be seriously concerned. I think that I would absolutely echo what Nigel has said, that I'm not a lawyer. Is it right that he's in jail? He was in violation of court orders, so as I understand it. So I've known as a police officer people who've been arrested and gone to jail for that. Tommy's not an exception, but there is clearly a political angle to this. I find it so difficult, Dan, if I'm honest, to even use in the United Kingdom, regarding the United Kingdom, that there are political prisoners here. But I think we have to accept that there is an angle of the way that Tommy has been treated that is politically driven. And he's not necessarily a political prisoner, but the way he's being treated, the isolation he's being held in and so on, which we don't know the details of whether that, to what extent that's for his own safety, but the whole presentation of this is incredibly worrying. And I just think that, when we look at this, it's not just him, as I say, but people who've been arrested for comments on social media, people who have been in prison for that. I mean, this is the United Kingdom in the 21st century, and we are arresting people because they are activists or campaigners, not because of criminal damage that they have done, not because they've committed a crime as such, but because that's valid. But when they're expressing an opinion like Tommy has and raising issues and concerns that are shared by a great many people in the country, I think we've got some serious problems that need to be addressed. And I go back to reform. Yes, there are lots of promises made, lots of, this is wrong, well, that's wrong. And Nigel quite rightly called this out, in CPAC. Again, I think you were spot on the money there, where you said, well, of course, in that environment, having been criticised, particularly by Elon Musk, over the way that this has all been dealt with, I think it was inevitable that Nigel was going to come out with that, but I think he's right nonetheless. But what to do about it? That is the question. And it is clear that the Labour government is not going to address it. The Labour government are responsible for this largely, but so is the previous the Conservative government, and so are the judiciary, so are the police. The whole thing has been politicised. If you poke your head above the parapet and you express something that politically is at odds with them, whether it's about gender or whether it's about the migrants or whatever it is, you get your head ripped off. I mean, Piers Morgan ripping into me because I supported Suella Braverman and saying we were facing an invasion of people coming across the English Channel, and that he tried to make the whole programme about that word, invasion. There are people in the media who are equally responsible for this, and how to address it, to be honest, I don't know, but I think there's more and more expression of concern about this, and hopefully at some point that will come over and actually dominate the electoral voting. I think that's the only way. But again, I'd like to see answers from Nigel as to what the plan is. I think that we've got to restructure, reorganise both our police and our judiciary, and I think that's a good start. Our whole law enforcement has to be turned around, and it is only really since the training, Theresa May largely responsible, but Blair to an extent as well, for the change in the recruitment and training processes regarding policing. I think there's a great deal to be done there, but I think this requires root and branch reform, because that is where this all started.
Well, exactly. So you're saying we need to start seeing specifics. And there are some really obvious specifics, aren't there? We should have the equivalent of a First Amendment, which protects free speech, which protects independent journalism, right? Even if sometimes that independent journalism is going to offend people, you can sue if you want. You shouldn't end up in jail as a result of it. And also, we have to end these non-crime hate incidents altogether.
Absolutely.
Don't we? Given that people like Alison
100%.
Pearson are being visited by police. Plus, I genuinely do not believe anyone should be in jail for any social media post. Seriously. I mean, we have Julie Sweeney, a grandmother who posted on Facebook on the day of the Southport massacre, Lucy Connolly, the wife of the Conservative politician Raymond Connolly, who is in prison for over 2 years because of a post on X. And the mainstream media, when they're told, Henry, we actually have more political prisoners in this country in terms of social media posts than Russia, they act horrified, but it's true. It's actually true.
I agree, Dan. And the non-hate crimes. I mean, what is a non-hate crime?
And why are they wasting their time? I mean, when there's such real crime. I mean, look, you obviously know all about policing, all about law and order, but our streets feel incredibly unsafe at the moment, Henry. And I don't care what the statistics say, because most people don't even bother now to report crimes because they know the police won't even show up.
Correct. Our policing is appalling. Now, I want to put a caveat on that, because there are a great many men and women serving in the police forces around the country who do have the right ethos and would put themselves and do put themselves daily between those who would do harm and those to whom they would do harm. And so there are some very brave souls in the police, and I take my hat off to them. But the whole institutionally, the organisation has been corrupted by political correctness, by woke, call it what you will, and the eye is off the ball. The ball is keeping the British public safe and security. I was with Thames Valley Police, and I think at that time we had the motto, well, sit packs in Thames Valley, but it's, let there be peace in the Thames Valley. But it was also about the preservation of life and property, and that is it. That is it. That's your sort of prime directive as a police officer. It's not, whether somebody's offended. There are rules, there are laws in the Public Order Act that, if you deliberately go out, to cause alarm or distress or harassment, then, rightly, I don't think you should go out of your way to cause somebody alarm or distress. I think that's wrong. And rightly, there are laws against that. But to actually say to somebody, I'm arresting you because you've offended somebody on social media, to hell with that. The response to that is if you don't like what somebody's, I get it daily. I'm sure you do, Dan. Absolutely daily, multiple times. If people give you abuse online, I don't report it to the police. I've got thicker skin. I just block them.
Totally. Totally.
That's
There is such an obvious distinction between trolling, which we totally accept, and between actual threats of violence, actual incitement of violence. But at the moment, that line has become so blurred. And trust me, Alison Pearson, Julie Sweeney, Lucy Connolly, their tweets didn't even come close. They didn't even come close.
Thank you so much for watching Dan Wootton Outspoken. Please click on my face just to the bottom left to subscribe to this brand new independent news source and turn on the notification bell so you'll be alerted to our brand new live shows, uncancelled interviews, and special royal episodes. Outspoken is also now available as a podcast, so you can listen to the show every weekday on the go, wherever you are.